I am simply thrilled to be joined by the artist who just sang that musical excerpt. He hails from Tucson, Arizona, but was raised in Missouri and Costa Rica. He completes his studies at Truman State University and his advanced degree at the University of Michigan. He begins his professional career with us here at Michigan Opera Theater in 1994 with Puccini's Madama Butterfly. He goes on to sing 10 roles over the next 10 years with us, and he really begins to establish himself as a leading romantic tenor on some roles such as Edgardo, the Duke, Pinkerton, and Rodolfo. But then he begins to move into the more dramatic roles of Canio, Kaloff, and Manrico at some rather impressive places, New York City Opera, Houston Grand Opera, Minnesota Opera, New Israeli Opera, Tulsa, Des Moines, Virginia Opera, Seattle Opera, in Rome, Modena, and Buzetto. I can just go on and on. I'm just so pleased he is here, Mr. Scott Piper. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Arthur, it's an immense pleasure to be here with you today. What a fantastic introduction. I've never actually heard my career and bio recounted in such a passionate delivery ever before.
And that doesn't
sound great.
I was going to say, that doesn't even include everything. We'd be here 10 more minutes at least. So on this particular segment, we've been looking at this famous bohème from '82, Zeffirelli, and looking a bit about his career. I hadn't told the public yet. This particular performance, we just saw your Celeste Aida, which was fantastic, was a production that Zeffirelli had directed and I guess produced in celebration of Verdi's 100th anniversary of his death. So I guess Buzetto is where he was born. Could you tell us like how you got involved in this project and how you were chosen?
Yeah, that process was remarkable. And I just first outright to MOT, it's a remarkable opportunity to be here to support what you guys are doing. So thank you for all your efforts and these wonderful interviews and opportunities to engage with our art form in such a unique and exciting way to get more personal about things. So my manager called me and let me know that Franco Zeffirelli was looking to mount a new production of Aida that was true to an aesthetic vision that he had been dreaming up, which is that he wanted performers of color to be involved in this. Both as the Radames and as the Aida, he felt that it was important to the storytelling to be clear about that aspect. He also wanted young performers who would throw themselves into the acting and singing in equal balance. He wanted to be able to form a company of young interpreters who did not necessarily carry a lot of, shall we say, packaged deliveries of roles, but were willing to really uncover what the role could be for each of them and what the company could be together as performers. And so this happened in New York City. Went in and auditioned. It was Zeffirelli in the room, first time meeting him. Can talk about that for hours. Massimiliano Stefanelli, the conductor, was also there. And later that night, after I sang 3 selections for them, left, didn't necessarily know what was happening. I received a phone call later that night, and it happened to be Franco Zeffirelli on the phone, and in his beautiful accent, which was a kind of slightly Italian-British accent mix, he let me know I had the role, and I was over the moon, thrilled, in complete disbelief, shocked, and out of my mind, had no clue what was about to happen.
Wow. So can you tell us, so how long before that did you actually end up in Buzetto to start the production?
So we arrived in Buzetto at the end of November, and we were there pretty intensively November, December, and then the production went up in January.
Wow. Are there any particular moments that stick out as far as he's concerned in your memory?
Oh, certainly. So many. I think that the defining moment with Zeffirelli, and again, I have to mention my colleagues, Adina Aaron as Aida and Kate Aldridge as Amneris. The 3 of us really had an opportunity to think bond over that experience and felt the artistic mentorship and guidance of Zeffirelli very strongly. But perhaps the defining moment of the type of artist he was, I can encapsulate in a story saying that we, in the third act of Aida, there's the love duet between Aida and Radames. Famous love duet, just after she's had the tension of the father coming at her and he's betrayal, and you don't know where she's going to choose. And that moment was one that was, it was good the way it had been staged, but it just wasn't quite didn't have that spark, that extra step. And Adina and I, we both felt it. Franco felt it as well. And what was incredible was for him to take us both and say, I trust you. I've given you as much as I can. Now you take that scene where you think it needs to go, basically. I trust you. That's the kind of artist he was as a director, that he could recognize even within young performers who were exploring. He could identify that spark of discovery, invest in it, and let go. And that is one of the treasured memories that I carry with me.
Oh, wonderful. Now, you have continued to sing, but you also, I didn't mention your advanced degree was a doctorate, by the way, at the University of Michigan. And now you're also a professor as well, while sort of balancing this singing career. Could you talk to us about that?
Yes, certainly. So in 2012, I had the immense blessing and privilege to have been offered a position here at the University of Michigan. I'm now chair of the Department of Voice as well, in addition to those duties. I benefited immensely from the guidance, mentorship of George Shirley. So when I was here as a student in my master's and doctorate, his guidance, his love, truly love, his gentleness, his strength, gave me a model that I hopefully have carried with me, and a desire to at some point share any of the blessings I've learned along the way to hopefully improve the experience of learning and performance for next generation artists. And Michigan is always, the University of Michigan has always been amazing, supportive. And in my position now as a faculty member, I find myself still benefiting from that same support, both as Mr. Shirley as my mentor, and from the university as a whole. I'm very blessed to have a fantastic group of faculty colleagues who are truly, I'm kind of more on the junior side of the faculty, and I can say that I look up to every single one of my colleagues. They truly, truly are mentors, and it's a huge blessing, Arthur. It's a huge blessing.
Well, Mr. Scott Piper, thank you for taking a few minutes just to give us a little glimpse into your time with Franco Zeffirelli. We're very excited about watching this historic program, but thanks for joining us today.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Best wishes to you, and enjoy the rest of the performance.